Changing sports now. On Sunday, the Indian men's badminton team scripted history, winning the Thomas Cup for the very first time. The Thomas Cup is the only team competition on the professional circuit and is regarded as the World Cup of the sport. The Indian team, led by the captain Kidambi Srikanth, capped their dream run by beating 14-time champions Indonesia in the finals. The chief coach of the Indian national team and one of the legends of Indian sport, Pullela Gopichand, joins me now to reflect on the magnitude of the triumph and what it means for Indian badminton going forward. Congratulations, Gopi. I remember having a discussion with you in 2006, 2007, when you had just about taken over as chief coach, and back then, even procuring something as basic as shuttlecocks was a task. Where does this win rank in the list of achievements that Indian badminton has seen over the last 2 decades?
Well, I think every time I think of the sport, I'm thinking this is the best it can happen. And I think every time we've surpassed those expectations. But I think this is really one of the biggest ever wins. I think the only thing which can beat it is probably if you win both the medals together, the men's and the women's together. I think this is huge. I think this is as big as it gets in terms of team championships at the highest level.
I was speaking to Kidambi Srikanth on Monday after that win, and I did ask him about the I becoming a we, because badminton is mostly an individual sport, Gopi, if you leave aside doubles. India has a strong list of singles players for a while, but remarkably, this is the first ever medal at the Thomas Cup. Can you tell us what went on behind the scenes in the lead up to this tournament?
Well, I think it's a combination of things. One is, as you rightly said, it's an I event. Normally, it's like each one goes out there. We can still call it a team championship, but it's like still each one goes out there, plays their own match, comes out, and it turns out that it adds up to the score. Unlike probably a hockey or a cricket or a football or something. But I think what is important is that these players have kind of peaked at the right time. They're in the prime, playing the best badminton at the right time. And also, each one had their personal pride at stake. They were competing against each other, but in some sense, they were also complementing each other. I think that is what been the greatest strength. And each of them, if you look at from the team perspective, I think Laksh, of course, has been a star who's actually rising. He's actually done exceptionally well in the last few months, winning event after event or reaching the biggest medals in the All England and the World Championships. I think it's been phenomenal. But Srikanth, if you look at, has had his ups and downs. He lost out on the Olympics. He lost out those big medals where it really mattered. And he's been a little up and down in his form. He's had his position kind of stamped through, or his presence to be felt. Prannoy, people have been doubting, or people have also doubted his presence in the team. I think he needed to prove a point more for himself and his pride. I think all those things came along. The doubles players, Satvik and Chirag, went out there, and it's always been a case where the singles are good, the doubles aren't good enough. So they probably wanted to prove a point. So it's almost like there was something at stake which was larger. One was personal pride, combined it with the country's emotion, because there was a lot of good spirit around, everybody cheering the player on the court. I think that was huge. And I think each one celebrating the other's victory and egging on the other to well. I think that actually, that whole camaraderie, that whole issue of pride, personal and country, I think has come together to make a fine team.
Yes, we saw those celebrations on court and what it meant after every match. But over the course of your journey as chief coach, Gopi, India has seen many highs, especially in the women's game. And you've always been asked about the men's players not winning the big medals, considering the legacy of Prakash Padukone and where you left off. Is there now a sense of fulfillment for you as a coach?
I think it's definitely, I think on two fronts. I think one is the men's and one is the doubles. I think both are important to to say that, boss, this is it, in the sense. So I think in some sense, yes, but also hats off to the girls, because they've kind of put the bar so high that good performances don't count. You need a really exceptional performances to be noted. And I think had they won a medal at the Thomas Cup, uh, probably people would have said, oh, it's forget it, kind of a thing. But really to go out there and beat countries like Denmark, Malaysia, Indonesia, the way they did, I think that is what makes this team and this victory very, very special.
You know, is that the next phase of evolution then for Indian badminton, Gopi, when you speak about the women's team setting the bar high, that for Indian badminton to sort of now build on this, it has to compete for medals in all categories at the World Championships and the Olympic Games. So you're looking at men's singles, women's singles, the men's doubles, the women's doubles, and the mixed doubles. Are we close? Are we close for us to be ranked as contenders across all those events?
I think although we are strong, we have definitely have the players on the bench. We definitely are looking at a solid team, but I still would say there's a lot more to do and a lot more work to be done. But I'm happy with the progression. And yes, I think you're ticking off the boxes. We've got solid men's singles, we've got solid women's singles, we've got men's doubles. We had a women doubles did well as well at the All England. So there's another box. We have doubles doing well. So I think overall, when we look at tick the boxes, then you also tick the box of a Commonwealth Games, you tick the box of a Sudhirman Cup, and you actually open up for an entire different potential for the team. So we're looking at a strong team. Having said that, each event is not yet there at the world level to be called, or the depth is not there. But what this team and these performances of the players have shown, that is, it is possible. And I think that for me is the biggest thing here.
Yes, we are getting there. But Gopi, just need to also ask you about Lakshya Sen. And I'm going to ask you to wear your coach's hat and give us your sense perspective, because it's remarkable how he's getting the results the last couple of years. It's very similar to how Srikanth exploded onto the scene in late 2014. But we've seen that in the men's game, or at the top level in badminton, that staying dominant also means that you continuously have to innovate.
I think the way I look at it is, I think there's too much of expectation because he's doing well. What he's achieved is not less. The last 3-4 months, even if you were to look, there's wins at the 500 tournaments. He's had runners-up at German, runners-up at the All England medal at the World Championships, at Thomas Cup gold medal. I think there's enough, and he's 20. And 10 years, if you were to play at this level, he can achieve a lot. I think somewhere down the line, I think just to not put over pressure on players is important. We may not achieve the Victor Axelsen's kind, and that might still be okay. But we might achieve it also is okay. But I think just to be in that pressure that every time you go, you have to win, I think that's too much for the asking. So I would really love him to evolve. At 20, you can still make a mistake and come back and stay strong, stay physically up there, mentally just be there to ensure that you're there in the game for the long run. And then keep pushing day in and day out, and just better your work ethic. I think you'll have many, many results to rejoice at the end of your career. So I'm of the opinion that his game is good. He's young, he's quick, and of course he will have to evolve. But I think it will happen, and we shouldn't be too worried about an odd result, and we should just take it in the stride and keep getting better physically and stronger mentally.
Okay, final question, Gopi. 2 big events coming up next. There is a team element again at the Commonwealth Games. India won the gold in 2018. And then the World Championships in Tokyo. There's sort of 2 years to go to the Olympics. We shouldn't forget the Olympics happened last year in Tokyo. So this is sort of a moving year for the Indian badminton team?
Yes, I think it's still important because in the badminton circle we just finished off one tournament yesterday, and then the players are again they're playing another event in Thailand now. 2 weeks later they go back. They have two more tournaments in Indonesia, and then followed by Malaysia, Singapore, and then the Commonwealth Games, and then followed by the World Championships. So there's a lot happening, and I think the players are constantly on the move. I think it's important to just stay good with your preparations and then keep pushing. And there's no time to rest, reflect, and stuff. You have to make your improvements on the road.
Okay, Gopi, lots of promise, lots of excitement. It's been a huge triumph, and I know that while being a very private person, you would have been jumping up and down in front of that television on Sunday. Enjoy this. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.